It's finally here. Today we're learning English with song. That is Taylor Swift's Calm Down. Calm down, a phrasal verb. In this video, there's a lot of fun stuff happening with language, a fun play on words, and of course, we'll also do an in-depth study of the pronunciation. Let's get started.
You are somebody that I don't know.
So one of the reasons why I've sometimes hesitated to use music to teach English is that when we sing, we sometimes do things differently, and her opening line is a great example. She stresses, "You are somebody." She stresses the last syllable, and that is not how we stress that in spoken English. You're somebody. You're somebody that I don't know, is what we'd say. You're somebody. So we would very likely make this a contraction when speaking, but she doesn't. She says, "You are." And then she stresses the final syllable. So just know that in spoken English, it's not somebody, but it's somebody. Stress on somebody. I'll put that in parentheses because if you're wanting to know how to sing it like her, then you'll definitely want to be stressing that last syllable.
You are somebody. You are somebody. You are somebody that I don't know.
But the rest of the sentence is exactly like it would be in spoken English. That I don't know. That I linking with a flap. So it's not that. It's not a true T, but it's a flap. That I. That links right into the I as in by, diphthong for the letter I. That I. And then don't know. With N apostrophe T contractions, there are several different ways that we can pronounce them. One of them is by totally dropping the T, and that's what she does. So we have an ending N, a beginning N. The K is silent, of course, and she links them together with a single N, and that is a common pronunciation. Don't know. Don't know.
Don't know. Don't know. Don't know.
So in both don't and know, there's an O diphthong. That can change. Don't can be reduced to something more like the as in butter or the schwa. But it also doesn't have to be. She doesn't do it. Don't know. Do, o, no, o. Both the O diphthong.
Don't know. But you're taking shots at me like it's Patron.
But you're taken. Okay, so many times in singing, ing words get turned into in words. So that means they go from the I vowel plus ng, which actually sounds like the E vowel plus ng, to the I vowel n. Taken. So that happens a lot in music, and we can write it with this apostrophe symbol instead of the G. Taken.
But you're taken.
Let's look at the first two words. She does a reduction here. What are you hearing?
But you.
The T plus Y, this can get turned into a CH, and that happens. If I was going to pronounce it more clearly, I would say butcher, ch. You can definitely hear that CH. But actually, she's taking the word, the contraction your, which can be reduced to yer. And she's actually dropping the R sound completely. Butcha. I hear that just as the schwa. Butcha. I would even write the first syllable but with the schwa. Butcha. So T and Y combine to make a CH, and both vowels there are a schwa. It's said really quickly, not too clearly. Definitely doesn't sound like but your. But that's not how we would say it in spoken English either. We use reductions all the time.
But you.
I think it's not very common to drop the R sound in spoken English. I would definitely say butcher, and I would make more of an R sound in speaking. But R's do get dropped in sung English, and that's what's happening here. Butcha, taken.
But you're taken.
So, but you're reduced, less clear. Take, we have more stress there. That's a true T. The T at the beginning of a stressed syllable is always a true T. Unless it's part of the TR cluster, then it might be a CHR sound. Train. But for just a plain T, taken. It is that true T sound.
Taken.
Notice that's the first true T sound that we've had in this sentence, and there are 3 T's before it. There's a T sound in that turns into a flap T. There's a T sound in don't that gets dropped, and there's a T sound in but that combines with the Y to turn it into a CH.
We're talking a lot about T pronunciations. If all of these terms, flap T, stop T, are new to you, check out the video playlist that I have on T pronunciations. You can click here or in the video description.
But you're taking shots at me like it's Patron.
Our other stressed syllables here, but you're taking shots at me like it's Patron. Both of those have a little bit of a stressed feeling.
But you're taking shots at me like it's Patron. But you're taking shots at me like it's Patron. But you're taking shots at me like it's Patron.
Shots and at, less stressed. And this ing or in ending, always unstressed in spoken English. And it's unstressed here in the song too. What about the word at?
Shots at me. Shots at me. Shots at me.
Stop T, shots at me, at me. It's not at me. It's not released. That would be a true T. T is usually not a true T. If you take all of the times you'd see the T sound in a dictionary, less than half of the time is it pronounced that way. It's either a stop T or a flap T, or maybe it's dropped, or maybe it gets turned into a CH. I don't think she reduces the vowel here. I do think it's at me. Also, let's talk about the word shots quickly. We have the letter O. Don't let that fool you. It's the ah as in father vowel. Sha. Shots. Shots. No lip rounding. A little bit of jaw drop. Shots. Shots at me.
Shots at me. Shots at me. Shots at me like it's Patron.
Patron. Patron. Okay, so did you notice the TR there? It was not trone, but it's trone. That's really common with the TR cluster. It gets turned into a CHR. Patron. Patron. Now, in spoken English, there wouldn't be stress on the first syllable. It would just be patron, patron. We would say that with a schwa. Stress on the second syllable.
Patron, patron, patron.
But she says patron, patron, patron. She does more of a stress on both syllables.
Patron, patron. Shots at me like it's Patron.
What does this mean? What does it mean to take shots? There are two meanings, and she's using that as a play on words here. To take a shot at somebody means to criticize them, to verbally attack them. It can be to make fun of them, sort of in a belittling way. So that's when you take a shot at somebody. If you take a shot at something, then the meaning is very different. To take a shot at something means to try something. For example, I've never made this kind of video before where I use a song to teach English, but I'm going to take a shot at it. I'm going to try it. Now, another meaning for take shots, and this is where Patron comes in, means to take a shot glass size of alcohol and drink it all at once. So it's a little play on words there, talking about you're taking shots at me, you're criticizing me, but then to turn it into like it's Patron, as if it's a Saturday night, you're partying, you're out, and you're taking shots like crazy.
But you're taking shots at me like it's Patron, and I'm just like, damn.
And I'm just like, damn. The word and, reduced, she drops the D. That's true in spoken English. We almost never say that D. The vowel is reduced. It's not a, and, but it sounds a lot more like in, and I'm just like, damn.
And I'm just like, damn. And I'm just like, damn. And I'm just like, damn.
Okay, here we have another T. Now the T in just is dropped pretty much every time it's followed by a word that begins with a consonant. So when the T comes between two consonants, it's really common to drop it. This is true of spoken English. And I'm just like, and it's true of the song as well. So she drops the T sound, links the S directly into the L. And I'm just like,
and I'm just like, and I'm just like, and I'm just like, damn.
And I'm just like, damn. Okay, you're not really hearing a K sound fully either. That's because it's a stop consonant and it's not released. It's also common in spoken English to drop the released endings of stop consonants. It's especially true of T, but it also happens with K, especially when the next word begins with a consonant, as it does here. And I'm just like, damn. So what is she doing with that K? She does lift her tongue in the back. It does stop the air, but then she doesn't release it. I'm just like, k. Instead of releasing that sound, she goes right on to the next sound, which is the D.
And I'm just like, damn. And I'm just like, damn. And I'm just like, damn.
Damn. The N in damn is silent, always is, spoken English, sung English. If you look this word up in the dictionary, you'll see that the pronunciation is the D consonant, the A, and the M consonant. However, when A is followed by M, also when it's followed by N, the sound changes. If it didn't change, it would sound like this. D, A, M, damn. Damn. But that's not what it is. It's damn. That's how we say it. Damn. Damn. And so the A vowel is a little bit more relaxed and it shifts into an as in butter sound on the way to the M. So the back of the tongue relaxes. The tongue lifts for the A vowel and then it relaxes before the M. Da, da, damn. Otherwise, damn, damn, damn. That's not going to sound very American. Damn. Bringing that tongue relaxation in the back in will make it sound American. Damn.
Damn, damn, damn. It's 7 a.m.
It's 7. So let me write out the word 7. Notice that we have a word that ends in an S sound. It's and a word that begins with an S sound. We do link those. Single S sound. True in spoken English too. It's 7. It's 7. It's 7.
It's 7. It's 7. It's 7 a.m.
It's 7 a.m. So she put stress on se, which is the stress syllable of 7, and then on the last word M, a.m.
In conversational English, we probably wouldn't stress it that way. We would say something more like, it's 7 a.m.
It's 7 a.m. So it has a little bit of stress in the phrase a.m. It is the stressed word.
Now, I would stress it like that if I was maybe frustrated that I had gotten woken up early. It's 7 a.m. If I really wanted to bring stress to the time, then I would do it that way. But in more normal conversational English, it would simply be, it's 7 a.m.
It's 7 a.m. It's 7 a.m. It's 7 a.m. Say it in the street, that's a knockout.
Say it in the street. Say and street are two content words there. Those are the words that would be stressed in spoken English, and those are the words that she stresses. Say it in the street.
Say it in the street. Say it in the street. Say it in the street.
She does a stop T in it. Say it in, say it in, say it. It's not say it in, but it's a stop. In spoken English, it would be really common to make that a flap. Say it in the, say it in the, say it in the. We often make a T, a flap T, when it comes between two vowel sounds, but sometimes we make a stop T. That's what she did. Say it in the, say it in the. It, in, and the are all a little bit quieter. They don't have as much volume to them. Say it in the street.
Say it in the street. Say it in the street. Say it in the street.
The word street, we have two T's. The second T is a stop T. That's very common when it's at the end of a sentence, when there's a little break in speech, which is what happens here. It's the end of the line.
Street, street, street.
Street, street. Now, the middle T, how is that pronounced?
Street, street, street.
It's sort of like a really soft D, street, street, street. So it's not a CH, which sometimes happens, street. You'll definitely hear that. It's also not a true T, street, street. But it's sort of more like a soft D, street, street, street.
Street, 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 that's a knockout.
So the next 4 words, they're all on the same pitch, but one definitely feels more stressed, and that's the word knock. That's a knockout. And she does that stress with volume. That's a nah.
That's a knockout. That's a knockout. That's a knockout.
So when I'm talking about spoken English with my students, I'm often talking about a change in pitch, but that's not the only thing that brings about a stressed feeling. It's also length and then things like volume. And all of these words link together smoothly. That's a knock, that's a nah. The letter A is the schwa here. That's a. And it links these words together. That's a nah, that's a knockout.
That's a knockout. That's a knockout. That's a knockout.
Now here the ending K sound, she does release it right into the diphthong. So when a stop consonant is followed by a vowel or diphthong, then we do usually release it, linking it into the next word. Cout, cout, knockout, knockout.
Knockout, knockout, knockout,
How is this T pronounced?
knockout, knockout, knockout.
It's a stop T. If you feel like I don't hear it at all, that makes sense. A stop T is when the air stops more abruptly, but it's not released. So it's different from a drop T in that knockout, out, out. The word stops more abruptly. If it was totally dropped, it would probably sound more like ow. But it's out, out. That abrupt stop is the stop consonant. To our American ears, it sounds like a T, even though if you're waiting to hear the T release, you might not hear it at all, and it might feel like a dropped T to you. But try to think of it as a stop T. Try to think of that abrupt stop as being a sound in and of itself.
Knockout, knockout, knockout.
What does this phrase mean? So if you're going to take a shot at somebody, you're going to criticize them. She's saying that if you say that on the street, you say it in public, you say it in person, maybe you say it to the person's face, that's a knockout. That's something that can hurt somebody. That's something that packs a punch, that feels real.
But you say it in a tweet, that's a cop-out.
But then she goes on, if you say it in a tweet, that is, if you say it online, you don't say it to somebody's face, that's a cop-out. What does cop-out mean? A cop-out is when you don't do the thing that you should do because it's a little bit easier not to. Right? If you really, truly want to criticize somebody, saying it to their face is the right thing to do, engaging them in a real conversation. Criticizing somebody online, it's a huge problem in today's culture. It's so easy to be nasty online, and people do it way too often. And she's saying to express criticism of people like this online is a cop-out.
But you say it in a tweet, that's a cop-out.
You can get really nasty online. It's harder to be that nasty in person. On a side note, I know a YouTuber who got a grant to fly around the world and have people read the nasty comments they put on his YouTube channel in person. And very few people agreed to meet with him, and he found that when they did meet with him, they didn't want to say what they had written. It was so mean, it was so hurtful, they were embarrassed to say it to his face, to look at another human and actually say it. So I think that's an interesting illumination of what Taylor Swift is talking about here. It's very easy to be nasty online, but we don't actually really want to be that nasty in person in general. So let's talk about how she says the next line.
But you say it in a tweet, that's a cop-out. But you say it in a tweet, that's a cop-out. But you say it in a tweet, that's a cop-out.
Let's talk about stress, first of all. But you say it in a tweet, that's a cop-out. Those are the most stressed words. Everything links together pretty smoothly. Let's talk about the first two words, but you. That's not how they're pronounced. They're not but you.
But
Butcha, butcha, butcha. I would write that with the B and the schwa, and then again, she combines the T and the Y to make a CH sound, which we would actually write in IPA with these symbols. Butcha, 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 butcha. This would be a common way to say these two words in spoken English too. But you said it already. Butcha, butcha, butcha.
you say it.
But you say it. But you say it. Say it. The A diphthong of say links really smoothly into the I vowel of I. Say, say. I've found sometimes my students don't like linking vowel or diphthong sounds together because it feels too smooth, too sloppy. Definitely it happens in sung English, but it also happens in spoken English. Say it. Say it.
Say it. Say it. Say it.
We don't want to break there. She does do another stop T in it. Say it. Say it, say it in a, say it in a, and the words in and the schwa of a, say it in a, link together really smoothly.
Say it in a, say it in a, say it in a tweet.
Tweet, tweet. So the first T there begins a stressed syllable. That is a true T. Tweet, tweet, and again a stop T. Tweet. It's not twee, where the sound sort of falls off. That would be a dropped T, but it's tweet. Abrupt stop. That is the stop T, the unreleased T. Very common in spoken English as well.
Say it in a tweet. Say it in a tweet. Say
That's a cop-out. That's a. Again, the letter A is just the schwa, and it links the words together. That's a cop. That's a cop. Just like in the word shot, the letter O here, it makes the ah as in father vowel. Don't try to round your lips or make anything more closed. Cop out, cop out.
That's a cop out. That's a cop out. That's a cop out.
The word out is the ow, as in now, diphthong. I feel like she doesn't do very much of a diphthong. Ow, ow. It's more like cop-a. It's more like just the first sound, so I'm going to put that in parentheses. And then again, a stop T. Not released, not out.
Cop out, cop out, cop out, and I'm just like, hey.
Okay, there's a break here, so in this line, and I'm just like, hey. Hey is definitely the most stressed word there, up, down, shape, just like in spoken English, hey. And I'm just like, hey.
And I'm just like, hey. And I'm just like, hey. And I'm just like, hey.
The word and, again, reduced. It sounds a lot more like the word in, said quickly, unstressed. And I'm just like, again, the T is dropped, comes between two consonants. These words link together. There's no T sound. And I'm just like,
and I'm just like, and I'm just like, and I'm just like.
And again, I don't really hear the k released sound of the K. Again, that's a stop.
And I'm just like, and I'm just like, and I'm just like, hey, are you okay?
Are you okay? Are you okay? A lot of stress, up, down, shape on that second syllable.
Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay?
If I were going to ask a friend if he or she was okay, my pitch would go up. Are you okay? Because it's a yes-no question. But here she's saying it more like a statement. The pitch goes down. Are you okay? Hey, are you okay? Basically, she's saying if you need to go online and troll people and be really nasty, then maybe you're not doing that well. Are you okay?
Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay?
Now, we all know the music industry polices very heavily the use of its content online in videos like this. Now, of course, this video is for educational purposes, but will the music industry see it that way? Will they care? I don't know. That's why I'm going to stop here. We haven't done the whole song yet, but this video could get taken down, and I would hate to see that happen. So this is sort of a test. Let's see, can this video survive the music industry? If it does, I am absolutely going to do a follow-up video where I do the rest of this song. So please let me know in the comments below if you like to learn this way. Maybe you're gonna buy Taylor's song. Let me know in the comments. Maybe that will help prevent this video from getting taken down. If there's another song you would like to see me analyze this way, then also let me know in the comments below. If someone has already put the song that you like, then just like that comment. That will help me find the most popular request. A next great video for you to watch would be this video from my Learn English with Movies summer series. It's similar. We also do this speech analysis to study how the voice is used in American English. Guys, I love teaching you English. That's it, and thanks so much for using Rachel's English.